Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking all about homeschooling with you. We have decided to start homeschooling the kids in January. So I'll explain kind of our thought process, walking through all of this and why we came to this decision, my concerns in the beginning and how I cleared those up, and just like a little bit of everything. I just want to like walk you through my thoughts on all of this, things that I'm excited for, what we're going to do, what it's going to look like for our family, a little bit of everything. So if you guys are new here, I have twin girls who are 4.5, and then I have a 2-year-old boy. So they did preschool for 6 months. They are in a Christian private school. They started, our air just turned off, so I have to be a little quieter now. They started in January. They finished the school year, and then now they're in TK, which is transitional kindergarten. So they're in that they were going to do a whole year, but over the past month or so, I've been really wanting to homeschool, so I decided to make it official. So I emailed their school and I told them I'm going to be pulling them out in December. So come January, they're going to be at home full time, and they're just going to finish out this like half of the year at school. So it's just so funny, you know, I mean, if you would have asked me a few years ago about homeschooling, I would have laughed it off and said, no chance, not for me. I just always thought I couldn't do that. Like, I need my kids to go to school. I need separate time for myself. And what I realized, just being a mom is things change. Don't ever say one thing is one way and it's never going to change, because you never know how you're going to feel 1 year, 2 years from that time. Like, there's so much that goes into being a mom, your kids, how they change in the world. So I think it's important to always be a little flexible with where you stand. My reasoning was, it's kind of been over the last few months. Obviously, so much has been going on in our world right now, and there's just some things that I just don't love that's going on in their school. And I mean, especially if they were in a public school, like, I would probably have pulled them out sooner. But lately I've noticed that even though it is a private school, there's still so many restrictions for the kids, for the teachers, and it doesn't really feel like we have more freedom being in a private school, which I thought we would. When you're paying for something, you feel like you're going to get a little different experience. And I don't care if you guys don't agree with me, something that I'll talk about in a sec, something that's changed since I've decided to homeschool our kids is I've let go of that heavy weight of really caring what others think of me and think of what I'm doing. I'm so just laser focused on my kids at this point and our family and what I want our family to look like. I do not care if somebody doesn't agree with that. It doesn't matter. I don't know them, and it doesn't affect us, you know? So, but something that's really bothered me is their teachers wear masks. And for the kids, it's optional. And when we went to meet the teacher day, like half the kids actually had masks on, which I was really shocked by, because these are like 4-year-old kids. But the teachers wear masks, and I truly don't know how that works. They are learning to read soon. They are learning how to put words together and sound things out, and that is crucial to be looking at somebody's mouth. So, world problems aside, how is that possible in a learning environment? I really don't know, and it makes me sad for the kids. It makes me sad for the teachers too, because that'd be so hard to teach doing it that way. So that was something that made my mama gut, my mama bear instinct, just kind of, it lit it on fire. And I've just, over the past few months, tried to really trust my gut and my instincts. That's something I've always tried to do, is to really lean into how you feel as a mom and how you feel things should be done with your kids. Like, what do you think is best for them and right for them? Because we all have different ideas of what that looks like. but you as a mom know your kids better than anyone. I feel like we're not even talking about my notes of homeschooling yet, but I feel like we should do a little backstory. And the crazy thing is, I've been on YouTube for 10 years now, and it is such a wild job to have because there's so many opinions that you are reading that are coming at you all the time through DMs, through comments, and you have to sift through them and navigate them and choose what you're going to let affect you. And it's just crazy because ever since I decided, okay, we're gonna homeschool, ever since I made that choice, I have never felt more peace in my life. It is so bizarre. Okay, so you know how a lot of people say, when they make a decision in their life, they say it was really God telling me, like, this is what I need to do. I really felt the Lord. I've never felt that ever in my life. I've always heard people say that, but I've never personally felt that. When I was really doing a ton of research on homeschooling and looking at what it could look like for our family and seeing what our future as a family would look like, I felt so strongly that feeling that people talk about. Like, I knew without a shadow of a doubt, like, this is what I am meant to do as a mom for my kids. And I felt like, yes, I'm going to take on this responsibility. There was no questions, no doubts. I've never felt so confident in a decision before. And I just don't care about other people's opinions of it. It's just like, no, this is right. This is what I'm going to do. I'm so excited for this. I'm so confident for this. We're going to take this year by year. It's not like I'm going to do this up until 12th grade, no matter what. We're going to take it year by year and see how things go. Maybe they're going to go to a normal, typical school when they're older. I don't know. I'm not going to put like a limit to the years we homeschool. I just want to feel it out and see how it goes and see how the kids do with it. But I'm just so excited. I took a ton of notes on my book, and I just wanted to go through them and share with you guys some things that some people, I know a lot of you guys are considering homeschooling, but you have some doubts and you're not sure about how to address them. I feel like I'm going to talk about a lot of those in here. If I don't, though, just send me a message. One of the things in this book that I've been reading, Wild and Free, is she talks about childhood is lost, and now kids are sent to school. They're at school all day long, and they come home, and then there's activities, and then there's homework, and then you go to bed and you can replay it all over again. And kids are meant to be kids, and I think kids have an innate desire to learn and to be curious. But what can happen is sometimes when you're in schools for so long, it can take that away from you, and you no longer want to learn. You're more so being forced to learn. And I just think we are trying, just as a society as a whole, to make our kids grow up so fast, and we want them to, hit this next benchmark and do this next activity, and we're putting them in so many things. We are stressing them out, and little kids have anxiety now, and it's just stressful to watch and to think about your kids doing that. I just feel like you get caught up in this rat race of thinking your kids need to do all these things, because as a parent, you want your kids to be the best, right? And so you feel like they need to be the best and do all these things. But the way we go about it, I think, is just creating a lot of stress for our kids. The bonus of homeschool and the benefit of homeschooling is you don't need all day long to do your, quote unquote schoolwork. You can finish it in a few hours, and then you have the rest of the day to just live your life. And also, when you're done with your schoolwork, your curriculum, if you're doing that, I don't think it's like school turns on and off. I think all day is learning. It's not Monday through Friday, 8 to noon that you're having school. To me, all day long is learning. The weekends are learning. when I'm with my kids, I use any moment possible to teach them something. I think homeschooling now will just give me more of an incentive to like expand on things, but the actual like writing stuff out and schoolwork that we want to do, I believe kindergarten is like 30 minutes of that. So that leaves you with the whole day to go on a field trip, to take them to the library, to go on a nature walk, to do tea time poetry, which I shared in my stories, to do so many things with your family that's so engaging. And the whole time you are strengthening your family bond. And that is my goal for homeschooling, for our family. I want us to be a close family unit. I want to be with my kids and be a positive role model in their lives. I think, us as parents, according to the Bible, it is our responsibility to teach and raise our children. And this way we're with them more. We have more control over what they're learning and what they're exposed to. Yes, it's a huge responsibility, but you were meant to be your child's parent, and you are the best one for them to teach them. You know your child better than anyone, so you actually are the best person to teach your kids. You know how they learn best. You know when they're getting frustrated, and that way you can cater things to them. And I think with twins especially, I've always worried about them in a school setting because they have very different learning styles and nobody can ever tell them apart. So I think that would be really hard as a twin and also they're kind of competitive. So I just feel like I can really help them. I can cater to how they learn and how they soak information up between the two of them. And besides that, just as far as a subject standpoint, something that's drawn me into homeschooling is you can really tailor your curriculum and what you're learning to what your children are really interested in at the time. Say you're doing math and nothing's clicking. You can veer off course and try something else and then come back to that another day. Your day is not determined by like the curriculum for the class for that day. You can do whatever you want, schedule it however you want, and really to me, I want our days to flow. It's not going to be super rigid. We sit down, we take attendance. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be just a natural way of going about our day. We will, be weaving in math and science and history throughout it. But I think too, like you learn so much better when you're engaged in something and when you're consumed in wanting to know more instead of just being something on a worksheet where you're just taking it for a test. To me, this way of learning, it just resonates with me a lot more, and I think things will sink in more for them as well. I wrote down, kids need our time and will learn when they are given time to explore ideas without constant examination. So that's the other thing. It's not a race. I think kids, there's beauty in learning slow and not being pressured to learn. Sometimes that develops deeper ideas and you get like stronger roots into things, and it develops their curiosity, and they're just more invested in certain topics rather than being taught something to do well on a test. They're learning something because they're actually interested in the topic. There's a quote from Plutarch, and it says, education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. So the goal of this book and just her philosophy for homeschooling is you want them to, enjoy and love to learn. And it's not like you're just doing this for their school years. This is just a foundation for their life, and you want them to be lifelong learners. I wrote down, childhood is not meant for just prepping us to be adults, but to be cherished and protected. And another thing I really want to do with them is to be outside a lot. There's so much to learn outside, and going on trips and just going to the park or on a little hike, just doing stuff around where we live. We can make that into a field trip and a fun day where things like that just aren't possible in a normal school. And I don't think they actually do field trips. I don't know how many they do now or if they even do any, but it's not the same as when I was in school. And there's just not as much like creative things for them to do. I just remember doing so many art projects, and my girls love arts. So I just see ourselves doing so many different arts and crafts here at home. It says my battery is hot again. I don't know why it does that. Okay. I also wrote, it's not about having the best toys, but about simplicity, freedom to explore, discover, and play. And I don't want to rob them of their childhood so young. I want them to be creative and explore. And I want them to be kids for a little bit longer. Children are born with a desire to learn and are in a constant state of wonder. Our job is to not take it away. And this is so true. The girls are always asking me about things all day long, and those are all chances for me to teach them things. And it's not like I'm telling them, let's learn about this. They're genuinely curious. So I think for a lot of people, the desire is for a simpler way of living. And I think a lot of us moms are really craving that. It can feel risky though to, do something that's not normal. That's not what most of society does. So it can be scary, but I think we need to trust ourselves as mothers that we are capable of doing this for them. One of the things that a lot of people are struggling with is, do I know enough? Can I teach my kids all of these things? And there was a great analogy somebody said, it's not like you're at the top of a mountain shouting down things to your children. You are right alongside them, climbing up the mountain with them during this whole homeschooling process. I don't look at this as I know everything possible to know to teach my kids. You are learning together with them. I've been reading about a lot of moms' experiences, and most say, I started this for my kids, but never realized how much I would benefit as a mom. And just learning these things again and being able to, again, learn right alongside of your kids is a really special thing. There's another story I heard, and a mom said, well, I just feel like I just don't know enough. How can I teach my kids all these things? And the person she was talking to said, well, if you feel like you went through the whole school system, your whole life, every day, and you don't feel like you know anything to teach your child, then why do you want to put them through the same process? And that was just so eye-opening to me, and I just love that. So another concern for people is I just can't deal with them all day. And it is going to be a time where we foster this relationship between siblings and our kids. And I think it's a way to develop relationships for them to learn to deal with each other, for us to learn to deal with them. And everything I've read is like, you're gonna have so many days where you want to quit. Like, what am I doing? You're gonna see a school bus driving by and say like, what am I doing? They need to be in school. But it's a long process, a long build, and you will see how they will change and grow over time, and it'll all be worth it in the end. I wrote this down from the book. It says, this time should be thought of as time to be cherished with our kids. It's time we are given to raise them and teach them to be curious, thoughtful, and encouraged to always be on the pursuit of their interests. We can also cater to each child's needs which I touched on. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied right now. Their learning styles. And she was saying, sometimes you don't necessarily know their learning styles right off the bat, but she said in time you will see them. They will, show themselves. And we will also know what they need extra help in. So if one of your children are struggling in math, you can slow down the process with them, and you don't have to be going on to the next chapter. Give them extra time to be in that, whatever that lesson is. And then if you have another child who's really excelling in reading, they can continue and like move way past where they're at. So it's not like they have to all be in the same level at the same time. They can go their own ways. I also really like that Owen can start things with the girls early, and I feel like he can just kind of keep up with them eventually. And that to me, it seems really neat. Okay, so trust your natural instincts as a mom. Don't let judgment and opinions from others make us doubt our own intuition. In the book, she was saying all the time when they're out in public, people are always looking at them like they're crazy. I do think it's getting more common now, so it's not as weird. But to that, I just say, that's fine. They can think what they want. So it is completely fine. She also says you should treat it as a huge responsibility. You need to be intentional and committed to giving an individualized and quality education. So I do think if you decide to do this, like, you have to take it on full steam ahead, and you are their teacher and you are the one that's helping them, guide them. And there's so many resources now for homeschooling. So I think it's not like you need to be alone in this. There's so many, Facebook groups and different programs that you can feel a part of, so you're not doing this alone. Know your why. So it can be academics if you want them to, move quicker in academics. If it's bullying at school, if your child has a learning disability, if whatever it is, know your why. Know why you're doing this for your kids. And she says, spending this time with your kids will root them deeply on values that matter and dreams that inspire. Instead of raising children who turn out to be okay despite their childhood, let's raise children who turn out extraordinary because of their childhood. Oh, this is what I was trying to explain earlier. So things sink in more when you're experiencing them rather than them being taught on paper. So when you're actually in the world, learning about these things, touching them, hearing them, looking at them, that is going to sink in more than just writing it down on a worksheet. So the main question that I get is socialization, and how are they going to have friends? The funny thing is, when I heard that off the bat, is none of the kids' friends that they have are from school. Not one. We've not gone on one single play date with a child from their school. Their friends are from dance. Their friends are from my friends' kids, friends we've met at the park, and they're all from different areas of our life. So to think that only your friends are in school, I think it's just not realistic. In the book she writes, well, your kids are going to be weird. Don't you want them to be normal? And she said, do I want my kids to be normal? I don't know. Isn't that the point of doing homeschool, is so we don't want them to be just like everyone else? The point of doing homeschool is that they have a more individualized attention, that we are developing them as individuals instead of having them learn the exact same thing at the exact same pace as everyone else. This is a time where, since we can do our schoolwork in a shorter amount of time, it gives them so much more time to develop their interests and their hobbies. If they're really into a musical instrument, they can spend so much more time practicing that. If they're really into science and experimenting, they can do so many more things with that at home where they wouldn't have those opportunities at school. So it's a way to kind of let your kids just really explore and see what they are passionate about. There's also a bunch of studies on peer pressure, and homeschool kids are actually way less susceptible to peer pressure than kids in school, and also they have higher self-esteem. So I think one of the benefits to me is, in school you're with 30 kids with you're all the same age. But homeschool, you're around, if you're doing a co-op, because what we're going to do is a co-op. So once a week, we're going to be around other kids who are doing the same thing, but these are not going to be all the same age. You're with kids of all ages. So you're learning to socialize with kids older than you, younger than you, adults. And what this does is you're more well-rounded when you're in the real world after school. And if you think about it, when are you ever with a group of people that are all your age now? Like, that never happens. You're always with people who are older than you and younger than you, and you have to adjust to that. So it's actually helping them be more adaptable to the world. And to me, I don't see that as an issue at all. Also, with your siblings, she was saying how older siblings learn how to teach the subject to their younger siblings, and they also tend to be way more creative when they have younger siblings because they're wanting to do those fun things with them. And younger siblings are kind of jumping on with their older siblings in like more advanced subjects. So there's just a ton of pros to being around kids of different ages. And the last few times I've been picking up the kids from school, kind of breaks my heart. They always just tell me how this person doesn't pay attention. This person is never listening. Oh, the boys are mean, they say. And I'm just like, what? They're just always talking about people who aren't listening to the teacher. And I just am thinking, how long are the teachers spending on disciplining the kids? And that takes away from them actually learning and experiencing fun things. This way, your social experiences are positive ones with people. You're not just sending them off and you don't know what's going on. You're helping them understand why things happen. You could, like, if something happens like that and I was with them, I would explain to them, like, maybe he had a bad day, maybe he's upset, you should go see if he's okay. Like, I can, if I'm with them, I can help them. Sometimes they just need guidance. And I think this way I can just help guide them more. One other thing I wanted to leave you guys with is, she said, the difference between homeschooling and being in a traditional classroom setting is, in a traditional classroom, you learn about stars on a piece of paper. In homeschooling, you learn about the stars by laying on the ground and looking up at the sky. It's definitely a big decision, and it's going to, look so much different for our family, for our future, but I'm just very excited for it, and hopefully I can continue to share stuff on it on my channel. But yeah, that's just kind of where we're at right now. So I have a few months to kind of prepare and get everything ready, but I know that the only thing that's really gonna get me ready is just doing it. And the first year I know is going to be hard, and it's just going to be a learning experience. Just like when you have a newborn, you're not fully prepared to have that baby, but time gives you experience. So the same thing I've been reading is true with homeschooling. It's just going to be time that's going to bring you experience. I just wanted to make this video to encourage some of you guys, if you are struggling with whether or not you should homeschool. I just wanted to put this out there just to let you know my reasoning, my why, and some things that have helped me along the way. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys very soon.
Let's make footprints in the sand. Let's make mirrors.